The auto industry was just rocked by Trump's recent announcement. It is a requirement, not a suggestion, that all automobiles be built in the United States. The auto industry is experiencing waves of uncertainty as a result of Trump's shocking statement. While U.S. companies see an opportunity for dominance, foreign automakers may be forced to relocate their factories. What does it mean to you, though? Will the cost of cars increase? Will pressure cause the industry to change or fail? What's going on? Imagine reading the headline, "All cars must be made in America," when you wake up. It is a revolutionary change that has the potential to completely alter the global automotive scene. It is not a policy proposal. Donald Trump shocked the automotive industry with his audacious announcement. His order: all cars that are sold in the U.S. have to be produced entirely in the U.S. This is a direct challenge to the decades of globalization that have molded the auto industry, not just a suggestion. The proclamation aims to ensure that American jobs and resources are prioritized while halting the dominance of foreign automakers that profit from global supply chains. The U.S. has been a global center for international brands for many years. By using international assembly lines and marketing to American consumers, businesses like Toyota, BMW, and Volkswagen have prospered. This model is dismantled by Trump's vision. Even companies with plants in the United States are required to move more operations domestically under his mandate. High-end automobiles like Toyota's flagship models, which are currently made in Japan, and the BMW 7 Series, which is currently made in Europe, would have to leave American assembly lines. Wide-ranging effects could result from this change. While some see it as a patriotic call to rebuild America's manufacturing base, others caution that it might cause serious economic upheavals on a worldwide scale. However, how will foreign automakers adjust to such a radical demand given their long-standing familiarity with global supply chains? Pressure on foreign automakers. If you were told to relocate your business or risk being shut out of the most profitable auto market in the world, how would you respond? Trump's announcement presents both a challenge and a possible turning point for international automakers. Over the years, corporations such as Volkswagen, BMW, and Toyota have made billions of dollars in investments in their American operations. Nevertheless, Trump's new mandate is unyielding. It calls for full production, including sourcing parts and creating luxury models domestically, in addition to assembly in the United States. Think about BMW. More than 60% of the BMWs sold in the US are made at the company's Spartanburg, South Carolina facility, which is currently the biggest BMW factory in the world. However, under Trump's policies, this is insufficient. Additionally, models like the opulent 7 Series that are typically manufactured in Europe would have to move their manufacturing to the United States. Toyota has comparable challenges. Its high-end models and specialty parts are still made in Japan, even though its US plants produce well-known models like the Camry and Corolla. Toyota would have to restructure its business in order to satisfy Trump's demands, which might mean closing some of its long-standing production facilities. This is an existential problem rather than merely a financial one. Foreign automakers must choose between risking losing access to the US market and bearing the expense of compliance. There are serious risks associated with either option, including disruptions to the supply chain and increased consumer costs. Why, though, is Trump so committed to enforcing such a drastic change? His more comprehensive economic outlook holds the solution. The economic strategy of Trump. Is this a risky economic gamble or a daring attempt to revitalize America? Trump's agenda goes beyond automobiles and includes a broader economic plan to transform the manufacturing sector in the United States. Jobs have been shifting abroad and factories closing in the United States for decades. Trump's plan aims to buck this trend by bringing back homegrown production and regaining America's standing as a major industrial power in the world. Economic nationalism, the idea that the U.S. should put its own workers and industries first, is the foundation of this approach. Trump wants to reduce America's dependency on imports, boost local economies, and create jobs by requiring automakers to manufacture domestically. As factories reopen and new ones are constructed, historically manufacturing-dependent states like Michigan, Ohio, and South Carolina may experience an uptick in economic activity. This vision does, however, present some formidable obstacles. Due to the high level of automation in modern automotive manufacturing, job creation may not keep pace with production growth. Additionally, American workers need to adjust to the demands of high-tech production, which calls for sophisticated education and abilities. In the absence of substantial workforce development investment, the advantages of this policy might not be shared equally. However, what does all of this mean for the purchasers of these vehicles? This is where the viewpoint of the customer enters. The picture. The viewpoint of the consumer. Is it possible that this policy will make your next car the priciest you've ever bought? There are two sides to Trump's mandate for American consumers. One side is the pride that comes with having a car that is actually made in America. Many consumers who are keen to see how their purchases affect the national economy share the values of supporting domestic industries and jobs. However, consumers may be severely impacted by the reality of rising manufacturing costs. Production relocation to the U.S. necessitates a large investment in new infrastructure, personnel, and logistics. Automakers are unlikely to absorb these costs, so they will likely be passed on to consumers in the form of higher vehicle prices. The typical American may find luxury brands like Mercedes-Benz and Audi less affordable as their prices increase by thousands of dollars. Due to competition for labor and resources, even domestic automakers like Ford and General Motors may encounter difficulties, which could raise the price of their cars. Additionally, the policy might result in fewer options for consumers. Automobile manufacturers might simplify their product lines and concentrate on high-volume models that generate the highest profits. Customers will have less choice as a result of fewer luxury or niche options. However, this is a global movement with ramifications that goes beyond a simple automobile story. Global automakers are nervous. What happens if the biggest automakers in the world are abruptly forced to change their business models? The global auto industry has been rocked by Trump's announcement, which has put titans like Toyota, BMW, and Volkswagen under scrutiny. These businesses have been carefully balancing global supply chains for decades in an effort to reduce expenses and increase profits. Everything is altered by Trump's mandate, which adds another level of complexity to their business practices. The stakes are especially high for Toyota. With plants in states like Kentucky and Indiana, the Japanese automaker is well represented in the United States. Though many parts are still imported from Japan and other Asian nations, these facilities mainly assemble automobiles. Toyota would have to localize every step of its production process under Trump's mandate, which would present a financial and logistical challenge that might cause operational disruptions. Luxury car manufacturer BMW is in a similar situation. The company produces SUVs for both domestic and foreign markets at its largest plant in the world, located in Spartanburg, South Carolina. However, Trump's policy forces BMW to take things a step further and insists that luxury models like the 7 Series, which are now made in Germany, be produced in the United States. Costs, logistics, and whether American workers can duplicate the precision engineering that BMW is known for are all called into question by this. Volkswagen is in a marginally better position because it already assembles 90% of its cars sold in the US and North America. It would still need to make a sizable investment to expand its operations in order to fully meet Trump's demands, which might put a strain on the company's finances. Trump's policy is igniting a contentious discussion about economic nationalism and its wider ramifications as automakers rush to adjust. The economic nationalism debate. Is Trump's Made in America campaign a risky gamble or a return to patriotism? The idea of economic nationalism, which holds that putting an emphasis on domestic production will boost the country's economy and lessen dependency on other nations, is at the core of Trump's agenda. Proponents contend that this policy will restore America's manufacturing power, increase GDP, and generate jobs. However, detractors view it as a rash decision that might lead to a worldwide trade war and raise consumer prices. Proponents of the policy emphasize how it could help revitalize areas most affected by deindustrialization. Once the industrial core of America, states like Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania have seen their factories close and their jobs outsourced. Trump's mandate has the potential to buck this trend, reviving these communities' economies and bringing back well-paying jobs. Critics caution about the unforeseen repercussions, though. The policy may disrupt global supply chains, raise manufacturing costs, and raise car prices by requiring automakers to localize production. Furthermore, there is a significant chance that other nations will impose retaliatory tariffs. Trade barriers from countries like China, Japan, or Germany could hurt American exporters and increase tensions in an already precarious global economy. The policy's political and diplomatic ramifications are just as important as its economic ones, which are the subject of intense debate. Diplomatic and political repercussions. Could a global trade war be sparked by Trump's audacious move? Trump's mandate has prompted a prompt and outspoken international response. South Korean, Japanese, and German leaders have denounced the policy as protectionist and claimed that it goes against the fundamentals of free trade. Potential retaliatory actions, such as tariffs on American goods, ranging from industrial machinery to agricultural products, have been alluded to by European Union officials. Germany, which is home to automakers like Mercedes-Benz and BMW, sees Trump's policies as an outright assault on one of its most important sectors. In order to discuss a coordinated response, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has already called for urgent talks with leaders. The leading automakers in the US market, South Korea and Japan, are also considering their options. Could tariffs spiral out of control as a result of this tit-for-tat escalation? Trade is not the only diplomatic repercussion. Trump's policies run the risk of causing tensions in relationships with important trading partners. Germany and Japan, two nations that have made significant investments in the United States, may reevaluate their pledges, which could have an impact on everything from joint ventures in technology and innovation to military cooperation. The policy's immediate effects on the U.S. auto industry are already causing a stir, even as foreign leaders respond to it. Industry at home in chaos. Will Trump's directive spark a manufacturing comeback or devastate the American auto industry? The announcement has caused uncertainty in the U.S. auto industry. Some automakers are struggling with the financial and logistical aspects of compliance, while others see it as a chance to bolster their domestic presence. For example, Ford has openly endorsed the policy, arguing that it is an opportunity to strengthen its ties to America. With plans to increase production of well-known models like the Ford Explorer and the F-Series trucks, the company is already investing in its U.S. facilities. Conversely, General Motors is adopting a cautious stance. Although the company has stated plans to construct new electric vehicle plants in Ohio and Michigan, it is still unclear if these initiatives will be sufficient to satisfy Trump's demands. Tesla is in a unique position and is frequently regarded as the pinnacle of American automotive innovation. Although most of Tesla's production is already done in the United States, the company faces difficulties because it depends on foreign suppliers for parts like batteries. Tesla might have to make significant investments in domestic supply chains in order to fully comply with Trump's directive, which could put a strain on its resources. Startups and smaller automakers are also feeling the pinch. Businesses that depend on international supply chains to reduce costs, such as Rivian and Lucid Motors, are encountering major challenges. These businesses might be forced to reconsider their business plans as a result of the policy, which could impede innovation in the rapidly expanding EV market. Customers are now the center of attention as the domestic industry adjusts, and they start to experience the aftershocks of this dramatic change. The United States' competitive reaction. Will pressure cause American automakers to falter? Or can they take advantage of this opportunity to regain their position as the world's leading automakers? American automakers face a tremendous opportunity, as well as a formidable challenge as a result of Trump's mandate upending the auto industry. Now, businesses like Tesla, General Motors, and Ford have the opportunity to establish themselves as the clear leaders of a resurgent domestic market. However, success is not a given. With a strong emphasis on its SUV and truck lineup, Ford has already started to capitalize on its American identity. These cars are still well-liked by American consumers because they are representative of American utility and design. For instance, Ford's F-Series trucks are more than just bestsellers. They are symbols of culture. In a time when patriotism sells, Trump's policies may increase this advantage and enable Ford to position its cars as genuinely American. On the other hand, General Motors has a distinct problem. Both acclaim and skepticism have been directed towards its push for electric vehicles. Although GM's aggressive EV lineup follows worldwide trends, the policy may compel the business to reconsider its production and supply chain plans. The majority of materials used in EV batteries, such as cobalt and lithium, come from abroad. To meet the requirement, GM must now make expensive and difficult investments in domestic mining and manufacturing. Tesla is in a unique position as the embodiment of American automotive innovation. Although the majority of Tesla's production is currently done in the US, issues may arise from the company's reliance on foreign suppliers for parts like batteries. Tesla might have to rely more heavily on domestic supply chains in order to adjust, which could result in increased costs or production holdups. The policy has equally significant effects on the environment in cities as automakers rush to adapt. Urban and environmental consequences. Will this mandate impede environmental progress or unintentionally speed up the fight against climate change? Both positive and negative environmental effects could result from the move to domestic production. On the one hand, the carbon footprint connected to international shipping and transportation could be decreased by moving factories to the US. Logistics-related emissions would be reduced, since automakers would no longer need to import vehicles or parts from overseas. Furthermore, the emphasis on homegrown manufacturing fits in with the expanding sustainability movement. To comply with more stringent environmental regulations, automakers are already making investments in greener technologies, like electric vehicles and hydrogen-powered cars. Trump's policies could advance these initiatives by incentivizing businesses to incorporate sustainable practices into their operations within the United States. However, there are environmental costs associated with the construction of new factories and infrastructure. The advantages of lower transportation emissions may be outweighed by the substantial energy and resource requirements for facility construction. Additionally, the adoption of EVs may stall if automakers increase production of gas-powered vehicles to meet demand right away. An additional crucial element is the urban implications. In cities that have long suffered from deindustrialization, the policy may result in the revival of manufacturing centers. Although this might strengthen regional economies, it also calls into question sustainability and urban planning. Cities must strike a balance between the advantages of economic expansion and the demands for green areas, effective public transportation, and less traffic. However, this policy's effects go well beyond the US and touch on the global transportation infrastructure race. The international competition for transportation infrastructure. How will the rest of the world react as America increases its domestic production? The global competition for supremacy in transportation infrastructure has gotten more intense since Trump took office. Countries like China, Germany, and Japan are already at the forefront of important fields like high-speed rail and EV manufacturing. These international players are directly challenged by the United States' renewed emphasis on domestic manufacturing, which creates the conditions for fierce competition. For example, China is now the world's largest producer of EVs. In addition to mass-producing automobiles, firms like BYD and NIO are also developing cutting-edge technologies that increase the efficiency and accessibility of EVs. In order to keep its businesses competitive on the world market, the Chinese government heavily supports these initiatives. Germany, the birthplace of auto industry titans like Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, and BMW, is still a leader in engineering and innovation. These businesses cater to a high-end market segment and have significant investments in luxury EVs and autonomous driving. German automakers may be forced to reconsider their plans in response to Trump's directive, especially if they hope to continue operating in the US market. As alternatives to conventional EVs, Japanese automakers such as Toyota and Honda are concentrating on hybrid technologies and hydrogen fuel cells. Japan is a strong competitor in the global market because of its strategy, which places an emphasis on dependability and long-term sustainability. The United States needs to make large infrastructure investments in order to compete on this global scale. Modernizing factories, creating sustainable supply chains, and growing EV charging networks are all crucial actions. The United States runs the risk of lagging behind in the competition for innovative transportation if these investments are not made. The question of how society will react to these swift technological advancements still stands as nations adjust. Adaptation of society to high-tech mobility. Will society be left behind or be able to keep up with the quick changes in transportation? The transition to high-tech mobility is a societal issue as well as an industrial one. Customers and employees must adjust to a quickly shifting environment as automakers adopt automation, artificial intelligence, and sustainable technologies. The workforce is one important factor. Advanced technical skills are now necessary for manufacturing jobs, ranging from programming AI systems to controlling robotics, in order to prepare workers for the demands of contemporary factories. This shift calls for a significant investment in education and training initiatives. The promise of job creation may not materialize without these efforts, leaving many Americans unprepared for what lies ahead. High-tech mobility presents both possibilities and difficulties for customers. Although technologies like EVs and driverless cars promise safer, more effective transportation, they also call for a mental adjustment. From learning to trust self-driving systems to comprehending the subtleties of EV charging infrastructure, consumers must adjust to new technologies. The effects on society are not limited to individuals. In order to accommodate new modes of transportation, communities need to reconsider their urban planning. Smart cities, which combine AI-powered public transportation with driverless cars, may end up becoming the standard. Governments, businesses, and citizens must work together to realize this vision, though. The following section will investigate how these developments are influencing the direction of global mobility as we look at these wider ramifications. The transition to innovation. Will the automotive industry be forced to innovate at a never-before-seen pace as a result of Trump's policies? The market for Made in America automobiles offers automakers a fantastic chance to reconsider the way they develop and manufacture automobiles. Businesses have a rare opportunity to adopt cutting-edge technologies like automation, advanced robotics, and artificial intelligence to streamline production and cut costs as a result of the shift toward domestic manufacturing. At the vanguard of this change are electric vehicles. To remain competitive in a market that is becoming more environmentally conscious, Ford, General Motors, and Tesla are increasing their production of electric vehicles. With their longer range, quicker charging times, and decreased dependency on rare earth elements, advanced battery technologies like solid-state batteries have the potential to completely transform the market. Additionally, by allowing cars to share electricity with the grid, vehicle-to-grid integration promises to improve energy efficiency and transform EVs into mobile energy hubs. Additionally, in response to consumer demands for eco-friendly products, automakers are investigating sustainable manufacturing techniques. By lowering factory emissions and sourcing renewable materials, these initiatives have the potential to completely reinterpret what it means to make an automobile in the United States. In an effort to reduce waste and production costs, the circular economy is also being embraced, with a particular emphasis on recycling and reusing car parts. The effects of this change on the economy and society are starting to become apparent as automakers embrace innovation. While consumers stand to gain from more sophisticated, environmentally friendly, and reasonably priced automobiles, entire communities connected to the automotive sector may see a revitalization. The effect of economic ripples. Will the middle class be strained by Trump's policies, or could they usher in a new era of economic prosperity? The effects of the policy on the economy are complex. On the one hand, communities that have long suffered from deindustrialization could be revitalized by the creation of jobs brought about by increased domestic production. Automakers seeking to increase their U.S. operations are already investing more in historically manufacturing-dependent states like Michigan and Ohio. However, switching to domestic production could result in higher car prices, which would put a strain on household budgets. The cost of a new car could increase by several $1,000s, according to analysts, especially for foreign brands that are compelled to localize production. Middle-class and lower-class families may be disproportionately impacted by this, as they might find it more difficult to afford a new car. Additionally, growing prices may cause many buyers to put off buying cars, which would affect dealer profits and sales. Small companies that depend on fleet cars might also be negatively impacted. Higher costs may be incurred by sectors like ride-sharing, delivery, and logistics, which could then be passed on to customers. This could then have an impact on other industries, putting more strain on the economy as a whole for both households and businesses. Notwithstanding these obstacles, the policy may open doors for innovation in other fields like infrastructure, renewable energy, and logistics. For instance, the growth of EV charging networks may encourage the development of green technology, which would be advantageous for the economy as a whole. Furthermore, efforts to localize supply chains may spur improvements in manufacturing efficiency and materials science, laying the groundwork for sustained financial gains. Beyond its effects on the economy, the policy is igniting social shifts that may reshape Americans' perceptions of consumer choice, mobility, and the importance of bolstering homegrown businesses, redefining sustainability and mobility. Is America prepared for a revolution in transportation that puts an emphasis on innovation and sustainability? A larger social movement toward sustainability parallels the move toward domestic manufacturing. In response to consumers' growing demand for environmentally friendly automobiles, automakers are increasing production of electric and hybrid models in an effort to satisfy this demand while utilizing cutting-edge technology. Another change that is occurring is in public transportation. To lessen their carbon footprints, American cities are investing in environmentally friendly transit options, like light rail systems and electric buses. These programs support Trump's call for domestic manufacturing and give U.S. companies a chance to take the lead in the green mobility market. This change is further accelerated by infrastructure advancements like smart grid integration and EV charging stations, which encourage cooperation between the public and private sectors. The policy is also questioning conventional ideas about car ownership. Customers may move towards subscription-based models or car-sharing services as automakers concentrate on producing EVs in large quantities, which would eliminate the need for private vehicle ownership. Additionally, this modification may reduce emissions and traffic in cities, making them cleaner and more functional places. Although the advantages of these changes are obvious, there are many obstacles in the way that must be carefully overcome. For this revolution to benefit all Americans, affordability, accessibility, and sustainability must be balanced. Getting ahead on the road. Will Trump's policies spark a global trade war or a manufacturing revival? The ability of consumers, legislators, and automakers to adjust to a quickly shifting environment is critical to the success of Trump's policy. The difficulty for automakers is striking a balance between the need to maintain competitiveness in a global market and the cost of domestic production. Policymakers need to concentrate on fostering an atmosphere that protects consumers from growing expenses while promoting innovation. It is impossible to overlook the policy's worldwide ramifications. A trade war is a real possibility as other governments react with retaliatory actions. International cooperation and communication will be crucial to lessening this. In addition, the policy offers America a rare chance to regain its position as a world leader in innovation and manufacturing. The United States can lead the automotive industry by adopting new technologies and cultivating a sustainable culture. A national conversation has been triggered by this audacious policy. which has also brought up important issues regarding the future of American manufacturing. Do you believe that Trump's campaign for Made in America automobiles will have a positive long-term economic impact, or is it a risk with unintended consequences? Let us know what you think. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We appreciate you watching. Buckle up because the automotive world has just been shaken to its core. Former President Donald Trump has made a jaw-dropping announcement that could forever change the car market as we know it. In what he's calling the American Auto Renaissance, Trump's bold and controversial plan promises to revolutionize the industry by imposing massive tariffs of up to 35% on imported cars and parts, offering billions in tax incentives to manufacturers producing vehicles in the United States, and rolling back electric vehicle mandates he claims are stifling the growth of traditional gas-powered cars. This announcement has sparked a flurry of reactions, from praise by industry leaders who see it as a chance to revive American manufacturing and create jobs, to criticism from economists warning of potential trade wars and skyrocketing car prices. If these tariffs take effect, popular imports like the Toyota Camry, Honda Civic, and luxury vehicles from brands like Mercedes-Benz could see significant price hikes, pushing more consumers toward the already competitive used car market. Furthermore, the proposed rollback on EV mandates has divided opinion, with environmental advocates raising alarms about the potential impact on green initiatives, while traditional car enthusiasts welcome the shift back to gas-powered models. The ramifications of this plan could extend far beyond the car industry, affecting international trade relations and consumer options. Trump's announcement has undoubtedly set the stage for heated debates among automakers, lawmakers, and the public, with many questioning whether this strategy will truly put America first or create more problems than it solves. As we await further details from Trump's upcoming speech, the automotive market's future hangs in the balance, and the big question remains: how will this impact the average American looking to buy their next car? Stay tuned to channel name for all the latest updates on this developing story. And let us know in the comments if you think Trump's plan is the solution the auto industry needs or a risky move that could backfire. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to stay informed. Donald Trump's speeches, particularly during his presidency, often emphasized economic nationalism, manufacturing growth, and trade policies that significantly impacted the U.S. car industry. His America First agenda promoted reshoring manufacturing, jobs, and reducing dependency on foreign imports, which resonated with domestic automakers but created challenges for those heavily reliant on global supply chains. Trump's renegotiation of NAFTA into the USMCA introduced stricter rules of origin, requiring a higher percentage of car parts to be manufactured in North America to avoid tariffs. This policy aimed to stimulate local production but also raised costs for manufacturers. Additionally, his administration's tariff wars, particularly with China and the European Union, led to increased raw material costs, such as steel and aluminum, impacting the bottom line for automakers. While these measures bolstered parts of the domestic manufacturing sector, they also posed risks of retaliatory tariffs and market volatility, influencing decisions on production, investment, and pricing strategies. Trump's rhetoric and policies catalyzed a shift toward aligning automotive strategies with U.S. economic priorities, creating a mixed legacy of industrial revitalization and global trade tensions. During Donald Trump's presidency, his trade policies and economic strategies had varied impacts on car brands operating in the United States. American automakers like Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler initially welcomed his push for domestic manufacturing, as it aligned with their efforts to strengthen U.S. production facilities. However, the increased tariffs on imported steel and aluminum raised production costs, putting financial strain on both domestic and foreign brands manufacturing. In the U.S., Ford, for instance, estimated significant losses due to these tariffs, which directly affected profitability. International brands like Toyota, Honda, and BMW, which have extensive manufacturing facilities in the U.S., faced uncertainty over fluctuating trade agreements. The renegotiation of NAFTA into USMCA, while ensuring a level playing field for U.S. workers, forced these companies to reassess supply chain operations to meet new rules of origin. European brands like Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz were also impacted by threatened tariffs on EU imports, which posed risks to their U.S. market share and profitability. Luxury and niche car brands, including Tesla, benefited from the administration's focus on deregulation and tax incentives, particularly as the electric vehicle sector gained momentum. However, the broader automotive market had to navigate complexities such as potential retaliatory tariffs from China and the EU, which disrupted global trade dynamics. Overall, Trump's policies created a challenging environment that required brands to adapt strategies, reassess production networks, and carefully balance between domestic priorities and international operations. A fair and balanced approach to policymaking ensures that industries can thrive while fostering cooperation, sustainability, and mutual growth across borders. Fair policies and collaboration are essential for industries to thrive, balancing domestic growth with global cooperation to ensure sustainability and shared prosperity. Donald Trump's plans for the car industry were rooted in his broader America First economic agenda, which aimed to revitalize U.S. manufacturing and reduce dependency on foreign imports. A cornerstone of his strategy was the renegotiation of NAFTA into the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, which imposed stricter rules of origin for automobiles, requiring that 75% of a car's components be manufactured in North America to qualify for tariff-free trade, compared to 62.5% under NAFTA. This change was designed to incentivize automakers to invest more in U.S. production facilities and use American-made parts. Additionally, the USMCA mandated higher wages for workers in the automotive supply chain, which Trump argued would benefit American workers but also raised concerns